I call the member for Solomon.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Once again, I rise to highlight the disgraceful waste and mismanagement and the economic vandalism carried out by the Gillard Labor government in my electorate. I raise again the issue of the Eaton RAAF base houses that are still sitting vacant, rotting and wasting away, all because the Gillard Labor government is too pig-headed and too out of touch with Territorians to do the right thing and help alleviate some of the pressure of the current top-end housing crisis. It's important to know that in my electorate, the median rental price in December 2012 was $650 a week, yet the Gillard Labor government doesn't seem to care about families or housing affordability in the Territory. If it did, then they would not let these RAAF-based houses remain empty, well, would they? For almost 4 years, the member for Fong Lim and I have been working together to make the Rudd-Gillard Labor governments see some sense and make these RAAF-based houses available to Territorians. It's incredible to think that for almost 4 years, the minister, a fellow Territorian, Minister Snowden, cannot see sense and make these houses available for Territorians. He has demonstrated again and again how out of touch he is with Territorians. He's heard their pleas and their anguish over the blatant economic mismanagement of these taxpayer-funded resources, but he chooses to ignore them. No one I speak to can see the logic that in the middle of a housing crisis, over 200 houses are sitting there unused, sitting there vacant. And as I've said so many times before, these houses are now rotting away. The Deputy Leader and the Shadow Minister for Defence and the Shadow Minister for Veterans Affairs were in Darwin recently, and they saw firsthand the utter waste and economic vandalism that the Gillard Labor government is condoning. They were shocked at the blatant waste of taxpayer-funded resources. They saw for themselves that these houses that many Territorians would give anything to live in. They know that these RAAF-based houses are no different to the houses in the northern suburbs. These houses in the northern suburbs, the very same ones that are in high demand, very, very high demand. The RAAF-based houses sit vacant, despite the fact that this parliament passed unanimously my private member's motion in 2011, which called on the Gillard Labor government to excise the houses from defence so that they could be made available to Territorians. Yet they're still sitting there vacant, rotting away day by day. The incompetent handling of this very important local issue in my electorate by the Gillard Labor government is shameful, disgusting and outrageous. The Labor government thinks by removing houses, as it did in the Coonawarra Naval Base houses, that the problem is solved. Well, last week I saw what the government considers a solution. 26 of the 40 houses removed from Coonawarra Base are sitting vacant in a block, also rotting away. The Labor government promised that these houses would be used as a solution for affordable housing in Darwin. Yet 4 years later, 65% of these houses are not being used. So it's a disgrace. Minister Snowden's patting himself on the back for a job well done. We know he has issued a tender to remove the 200 houses from Eaton, just like they did to the Coonawarra houses. Well, this is despite none of these houses are being used effectively by Territorians to ease the housing crisis. This Labor government is out of touch and out of control, and there is no doubt that the Gillard Labor government is wasteful and should be held accountable for its economic vandalism. Removing houses off the defence base simply because they are defence assets and not DHA assets is not good enough. We have heard excuse after excuse as to why these houses and this ready-made suburb can't be used by Territorians. Well, let me tell you, Territorians want to be able to access these houses. They don't want to see them rotting away. Why can't this government do the right thing by Territorians and make these houses available?